You are listening to Spilling the Tea, a real estate podcast with Kristy Macero and Shelagh Maycheck.
Hi everyone, you are listening to Spilling the Tea with your hosts, myself, Kristy, and my lovely co-host, Shelagh.
Hello.
Today at the table we have his glasses are actually fake realtor David Smith and the beautifully bearded homeowner Jay.
Ooh. Can't believe she outed me on that.
I like that.
I did.
Though.
Yeah, it's true.
But people will forget because you look so darn good.
Pure vanity.
No, it's pure recognition and brand.
Okay.
Or
I got
it's
you.
Our money exchange.
I'm ready to move on whenever you guys are.
It's the best.
It's true though. They're fake.
So guys, it's July. This is the start of the summer vacation.
Boom.
Should signal the time to relax and enjoy ourselves. But did you know that the July long weekend is actually the busiest day to move in the entire year? It is speculated that 68,000 families will move this very weekend.
There's so many boxes.
Where? Like in a
Locally.
Locally.
Yes.
Wow.
68,000. Actually, I think that's for Canada. It's for Canada.
Okay,
It's
no.
68,000.
I was gonna let it slide, and I'm like, okay, all of Clayton, you are
Everybody
leaving
knows what's now.
Everybody swap houses.
this weekend.
The stat is for Canada. Yeah, and it is, and it's Canada Day. It is July 1st today.
Happy Canada.
Happy Canada Day. And after having multiple key handovers on the same weekend every single year, we looked into this, and we do believe that this is the busiest moving day. To the point where we warn people about it.
Yeah. Book your moving truck early.
We tell them book it early because
So well prepared.
yeah, well, it gets booked up quickly and then people panic, and I'm not built for heavy lifting, so really I'm just telling people ahead of time. So people have to hire, and they have to try to get their friends if they can't hire. And a lot of people go out of town. They go camping. They're gone for the weekend.
Yeah.
The July long
Pizza and beer's not gonna work.
it's not going to
It's
work.
not gonna keep them home.
Barbecue sparklers.
It's going to have to be more than that. So just on a personal note, I love Canada Day. I always spend this day with David Smith here at the table. We've kind of made it like an annual thing,
A
and
little party.
that's where we want to be. I want to be at Dave's house.
It's good fun. We golf from my backyard. Matt Ruff claims that he's not going to take divots out of my brand new turf, and then takes one about, I don't know, 12 inches long.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Just testing it out.
Great
There's-
videos every year.
Tree houses and campfires and all good things.
Yeah.
It's a good time, and I love it. So thank you so
One of
much.
the highlights of my year too.
Yeah, it's a good one. Shelagh,
Yeah.
how do you like to spend your July long weekend? Let's spill the tea. Let's get into it.
Outside, really dependent on mosquitoes.
Ooh.
Hit and miss. They can get really bad in Walnut Grove where I am. So I try to go to my dad's house over in Coquitlam. And we'll go for breakfast, and we have pancakes and bacon and just spend it outside.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
That does sound good.
Yeah, it sounds so good. Have you ever moved in July?
Yes. I don't know why I
It's
picked
already
that
funny.
day. I should have known better. I really should have known better. We ended up renting U-Hauls, but we moved in July. It was supposed to be a downpour actually that day,
Right.
surprisingly. And we moved into the moving truck, and it had just started to sprinkle by the time we got everything loaded. Whipped over to the next place, unloaded as quick as we could, and we missed the big rain. So.
Because water and moving boxes,
they don't mix.
unless you like paper mache.
Yeah.
Paper mache yourself some moving vans.
Some soggy boxes.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys something. Every once in a while, and it's related to Canada Day, but every once in a while I guess torture Shelagh is the wrong word, but it's like I will send
Is it
Shelagh
Just
to
Canada Day.
Just Canada Day?
Tuesday.
just on Canada Day. No.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll send Shelagh to a client where I just can't quite do it. Like they're sometimes not all personalities match, and
Yeah.
we were actually covering for another agent at this time, and it was a key handover, and I just couldn't do it. And I said, Shelagh, I need you to take a bullet for me because I just can't do this one. And so she ended up character building, I guess would be the right way to say it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, exactly. This is a character testing moment.
Everybody needs a Sheila.
Yeah.
It's tough because sometimes, you're just like, okay, this person again. So we're covering for an agent. We're doing the key handover possession day. And take it away, Sheila. Like, what did you end up doing with that?
So covering for the agent, it's a really busy weekend, and I am typically an overly anxious personality. Big surprise.
Most people in real estate are.
Yeah. Just making sure everything's done right. So I grabbed the keys out of the lockbox and I'm walking up to the townhome to make sure everything's ready because I want to make sure the lights are on. I've got the door open for them. And I could find the unit really easily because the sellers were still in it with their moving truck outside. No. And I'm going, okay, maybe they're just finishing up. No. They are quite a bit behind, and then who pulls up behind me is our client's moving truck. And for those of you who don't know, moving trucks are quite expensive when they're sitting. They can be like at least $100 an hour, and we're in this little really awkward standoff because the lanes are narrow in the townhome complexes. So I'm calling the agent. I'm trying to come up with a solution, and I'm trying to distract the buyer, essentially. I'm like, hey, they're going to be a little bit longer. Maybe you can go for lunch. But meanwhile, the buyer was actually quite chatty because I guess she had quite a hard process throughout this whole thing. So she ends up telling me her life story and how this place is too small and it doesn't fit her needs. And in my head, I'm thinking, why are you moving then? But anyways, that's besides the point.
Yeah.
So what should have been a really quick, hey, open the door, 10-minute appointment turned into an hour and a half long ordeal.
That sucks. How was the other realtor to deal with?
He wasn't there. He was on the phone, and he said, "Oh, just tell them to wait," and that's kind of how that wrapped up.
Yikes.
So eventually,
Them.
Yeah.
Them.
We do not name names.
Please don't. No, please don't. For liability reasons, Sheila.
I would never.
You need to be quiet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that sucks. And unfortunately that happens. And especially on busy moving weekends. And you've got these movers that might have more than one move scheduled in their day, for example. And then they show up in the truck and it's like, okay, then now what? Because there's not just like one person in transaction. You could have like 7 people all lined up in a row.
Yeah.
So long story short, Sheila, thank you for
taking a billet.
doing that.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness. And yeah, with the uptick of events that, or the events at this time of year, like camping trips, bonfires for Canada Day, going down to the beach. I think Vancouver might even bring back fireworks at some point. People are tired. It doesn't take too much for things to go kind of sideways, whether it's like their friends don't show up to help them move, or maybe the sellers have just come back from camping or something like that, where things don't kind of go according to plan. And like I said before, you can have these moving chains that are 7 people long, 5 people long, maybe even 3 people long. But there's buyers on one end and sellers on the other end that are then trying to buy another property that's sold, and then the next guys are moving. So it's this huge caterpillar of houses that go all the way along.
I've never heard that described as a caterpillar.
The caterpillar. You can picture it though, right? Like head.
Yes, okay.
You know,
Bob's
moves,
moving in at
body.
1. Jane's moving in at
Yes.
3. With a little
Tail.
chain of
You know,
places.
if I was moving, I would want caterpillars to help me.
Yeah.
Lots of arms.
It would take too long.
Low center of
Some
gravity.
Brazilian ants.
Carry it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Spread the load. Multiple legs.
Just efficient.
It's not a bad idea.
I think ants are what you're looking
Your
for.
ants.
The
It'll
ants
be
go moving.
The caterpillars are
or marching
quite squishier, one by one.
one by one.
Hurrah.
Ants do have military.
Bob's on
discipline.
break again. Oh no, he's turning into a butterfly. We've lost Bob.
We lost Bob.
So let's talk about that for a second. So
Caterpillars moving?
No. So you've got a chain that's like 6, 7, 8 or whatever. What happens if a segment gets cut out? Like what happens if a segment is late or early or whatever in the transaction when there's so many people that they're relying on and there's so much to do at the end of the process? Like we have in an early episode that we have Gary Voigt and Ali talk about cleaning, you know, and that expectation on possession day. And here we've got these chains on the busiest day of the year. How do we make sure that it goes smoothly when so many people are responsible for so many things? So it's a little bit tricky. And then you get slapped with 25-degree weather or a homicidal sun where the moving companies don't show up. So there's all these factors that could happen that are even out of people's control. So now you guys know, I think by now a lot of our listeners probably know all the scenarios we talk about are real scenarios that actually happen in real life. That's what makes this so much fun. And here's a scenario that happened to an agent in our office. You ready, Jay? Okay.
I'm scared already.
I know, it's tricky. You've arranged key handover. You know that you're going to go meet your agent to buy your house. You show up to take possession,
Oh, the way you're saying the suspense is like.
and the seller is there, and they don't look happy because their client is refusing to move out of the house.
Oh my, this is a real story.
This is a real story.
So I'm there to get key.
You're there to
You're the
get the
buyer.
keys. You're going to go in there. This
go
is
pick
your
up
new
my
home.
brand new dream home.
You've got your fern,
And dude still inside won't leave.
and person inside won't leave. How would that make you feel, Jay?
I'm already mad that this is a real scenario. Like, there would be a lot of words. I think I'd be throwing things. Yeah, I want to throw things now. I'm mad.
If you're listening, Jay is a redhead. So this is not a surprise.
I can't imagine that somebody would have that level of entitlement or audacity just to be like, nah, I'm not moving out. I would be so mad.
Because at this point, they have your money.
Yeah, it's all done.
It's all done.
I would hope that my agent and my lawyer and everybody would be like, Avengers assemble, and like get together to kick that dude out of the house. Yeah.
So you would expect.
Jay's going to be so disappointed.
So you would expect, though, that maybe the lawyer can help you, maybe the maybe the agent can help you.
I hate to say it, but I would imagine that this being something in your field of expertise, this is something that you guys have come across. So at least the team would know how to handle. You know what I mean? Like even know some form of realtor laws. Can I kick this guy out? Can I drag him out? Like what's my authority here? So yeah, I would definitely. The money's already gone, isn't it?
Yeah. So let's talk about
no.
this for a second.
Christy, you're the
about
host,
this.
but
Okay.
can I ask a question?
back.
Absolutely.
Jay,
Hey, sir.
what is your time frame for an appropriate solution?
Oh, what a great question.
That's a great question. Well, I guess it goes back to when's my moving day. If I'm moving in 2 days, my
No.
solution is
No,
right.
you're
now.
getting the truck
It's
now.
now.
The truck is on the way.
No, it's
So
right
is
now.
it measured in minutes or hours
Oh, it's
or
minutes.
days?
Or is it days?
It's
or
seconds.
months
It's
or-
seconds. We're dragging him out. I'm calling the
Seconds.
police. I'm calling the police. This is unlawful in a dwelling. I own the house. He is not allowed to be in my house. He's out. It's not eviction.
See,
Hard
the
lines
way
down.
that Jay feels is exactly how any buyer would feel.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that. I love that you're giving us like the, hey,
Yeah,
I'm a
this is good.
homeowner and I'm getting the key.
Is coming. We're removing this person out of the house. Like we are getting everybody
They're
called.
kicking
For
the
our
door.
American listeners, that is
SWAT.
SWAT.
Call the
Yeah.
prime minister. Call the president. We need NATO. Everyone's coming.
We need everyone on
This is-
this working together.
Interpol is here. Yeah, this is Avengers.
All right,
Assemble.
Finland, we need some bombs.
So, as a homeowner, as the person who's paid for that home and you've got the key and you're expecting something's going to happen.
Yes.
Okay. The agent in our office did the right thing by instructing the buyer, hey, listen, there is nothing you can do.
Yeah.
There is nothing I can do. There is nothing we can do. If they
that's
were
not
to
me.
call the police, it would be a civil matter. It would get pushed to a court process with an eviction. It would go to a bailiff. It could take weeks. It could take months.
That's
need
fine,
a
but at least
writ
a
of
police report
possession.
would be already. At least a police report's out.
If
you know
they
what I mean?
attended.
Oh, geez.
So when they did actually call and they said that they would not send somebody
Yeah.
because it's a civil matter, which I don't blame because there's nothing they can do. If the police even showed up, they could maybe calm the situation down, but eventually they're going to have to pass on the message that the agent would be passing on, which is kind of tricky.
Should someone commit a crime so that it is no longer a civil matter? This is
Like-
not legal advice.
No.
I confirm.
They're holding
They're
somebody in the
vandalizing
house.
my house. This is mischief now. They're vandalizing.
I love that though, because what Dave's doing is he's adding the emotional element behind it because logically we're told on paper, no, there's nothing that can happen. And physically we would never condone anything like that. And an agent would never want that to happen. But that is how one would feel. They would feel like, no, I'm going to cart this person out of my house.
I'm sitting at a table having some tea with you right now, and in this hypothetical situation, I am pissed.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't
Yeah.
even imagine. No, I would.
And I'm feeling very uncomfortable
Yeah.
as your prospective buyer's agent. Just like, I don't want to tell him that there's nothing that I can do. He's wearing a plaid shirt and he has red hair and a red beard. And I feel like he's going to be very angry.
Yeah, very mad. I don't know what
Yeah,
to do.
I think anyone would be mad. And the buyers, like, they were in this situation, they were understanding to a point. Like, they were like, okay, well, I guess we have to go. Thankfully, I think they didn't have to move out. Like, I, of course, put the pressure on you in your scenario that I just read out to you, like the moving truck's pulling up.
Right.
But I believe that they were renting from family or something like that. So they were able to give the situation a day or two for it to diffuse. But David, have you ever had a party refuse to move? Have you ever had anything like that happen?
Thankfully not, because, I mean, you were asking a few questions earlier on, like, you know, is there anything we can do to avoid this? Well, just today, I was getting texts back and forth on an upcoming possession this weekend, and I'm the listing agent, the buyer's agent's checking in. We're now days out from the actual possession date. And he's just checking, when are the cleaners coming in? When are you going in? How are we arranging the keys? When are you going to get to see it? It's a transfer, so it's being paid for by a government body. They're paying for the cleaners. They're paying for the movers. I'm like, I feel like I can give you a very high degree of confidence that this thing's going to be okay. So I think that's just a lesson. If you can get ahead of it on the communication side of things, then that's probably the way to go. So I haven't had it happen, knock on wood. It will inevitably happen at some point. Hiccups happen, but most things can be overcome with good communication.
Yeah. So I love that this agent, for example, had been telling her client, like, oh, hey, like, you know, possession's coming. I'm going to come do a walkthrough. And she's great. She actually goes to walk through the unit before key handover, and that's when she discovered the issue. It was, she called me, she was, what do I do, you know, one of those, like, is there anything, you know, can the police do anything, like that kind of. But it was really tough, and I'm glad that we're discussing it today, because if there is agents listening, like, that could be something that happens to you. And as a homeowner, sometimes trucks are late and things happen, and sometimes we say, oh, listen, they're going to be an hour or two, we can stand here and stare at them, we can help them move, or you can go for lunch. Okay. Now, I'm not built for heavy lifting. I'm just not. So I don't physically, I don't mind cleaning. I can do that kind of stuff. But when it comes to actually lifting, especially if I've got a funny heart, when it comes to physically picking people's stuff up, that's not part of my job.
I'd be picking people up to get them out. Not their things.
You grab the box, I'll pick you.
Yeah, you would be physically moving. So Dave, have you ever had to physically move a client? Have you ever lugged boxes?
Have I ever had to physically lift a client up and remove them? No. I mean, actually, when this has happened more often, it's with Jeremy when we're doing the media. And there's just like stuff everywhere, and we need to move their stuff around a little bit more. It's not generally happening on move out day. Like if that happens, yeah, I feel like I would have dropped the ball somewhere if it's my listing.
Right. Okay. So you take it like personally on, if that person's not prepped, I didn't communicate it along the way.
Yeah, myself, my team, like something went wrong.
Right.
And I would be very apologetic to the buyers, very apologetic to the buyer's agent. I'd probably be the one sending them out for lunch or dinner or whatever it is.
Yeah.
If there's additional costs to be borne, then I'd probably be communicating that to my seller pretty quickly.
Right. Yeah.
So you should probably get your button gear. And sure, I'll pick up some boxes. But I don't know.
But you haven't had to, which is good.
No, I haven't, because
Good.
we've communicated. Yeah.
Good.
That's
good.
great.
Yeah, that is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so next scenario. Are you guys ready?
No, gosh.
This one's
How did the other one
Even
end?
angrier.
Oh,
okay.
no.
It's moving day.
Okay.
You've hired a 3-person moving truck to move your family.
I can already smell the cigarette smoke. Sorry.
That's true.
Last experience.
That is true.
The last experience.
As soon as you
my
said it, I
goodness.
smelt it.
Yeah.
That's how it happens.
It's a diet.
You've hired a 3-person moving truck with an easy load ramp. They're supposed to be at your home at 9 a.m. sharp. 10:30 rolls around and they're still not there. You get a call and find out that the moving truck isn't coming. It's the busiest moving weekend of the year. What do you do?
Well, I mean, I have the house. The seller is gone, right? So it's just about me moving into the house.
It's about you moving out of your house because
Right.
there's a buyer coming to
At the
take
same day?
possession of your house. Yes.
Anxiety just ramped
It
up.
did, yeah, because like well, I would never be that unprepared. I'm going to be honest with you. There's always got to be days in between. You never move out the same day somebody's moving in. So that would be my first one. That would drive me crazy. There's not much you can do. I guess I'd just be calling the moving company, kicking and screaming, calling friends, and just begging, pleading as much beer and pizza as possible to get my stuff. You got to move. Somebody's coming in. You got to move. It's simple as that. Figure it out.
Yeah.
So I'd be calling emergency trucks, maybe getting as many U-Hauls as possible. On today would be the worst day ever to find a U-Haul, but
Yeah.
you know, just I
They're
don't
like,
know.
we have a cube van for
There's
you.
got to
You'd
be
like, I'll take
There's
it.
got to be like an Uber
In
pickup
Alberta.
truck.
Yeah.
I'll get
The
like
mileage will kill you.
an Uber pickup
And
truck or
it's
something.
Edmonton.
Yeah.
Even worse.
Yeah.
So we did have a situation when that heat dome occurred where moving trucks just full blown didn't show up, and people were
It's weather. We've talked about this. Kristy.
yeah,
It's just
like
weather.
weather
Terrible excuses.
weather happens, and people did not show up. And that's just the worst. Or you have days where people schedule the wrong day for their moving truck and they don't end up coming, and it really puts people in a pickle. David, have you ever had a call from a client saying that their moving truck hadn't shown up?
No. This is
This
why I
is
was
so
worried about
great.
this episode.
No,
Kristy.
this is
Great.
good. That's good because it shows, majority of the time everything goes great.
It does.
Right? And we have to have episodes that
Communication.
remind people that, yes, and communication is always key.
It's not all bad.
No.
But the scenarios you're sharing are awful.
Yeah. It seems to me bad organizing. I've moved a lot, and I've always left days between, when you're selling, when you're moving out, moving in. So
In an
I
ideal
once moved-
situation.
Yeah.
Ideal.
In an ideal
I once
situation.
moved 4 times in 3 months, and we never had a situation like that.
See, that's
good.
That is wonderful.
Yeah.
I've had moving trucks not come with my stuff, but that's that's another podcast.
What?
Air Canada's doing moving trucks?
Wow. That was so good.
Sorry, on Canada Day too?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's amazing.
I'd apologize, but I'm not sorry.
I like it.
Yeah.
If you did have a client where the moving truck didn't show up, would you start calling companies?
I absolutely would. Like, as realtors, we probably have a few connections with a few different moving companies, and they may be able to make something happen for us at the last minute. Could also be like a storage location that we have that also have, trucks available. I have a storage locker for my company, and if I needed to open it up to a prospective client for a short period of time, then I could probably do that as well. I don't have a truck, but I have friends with trucks, which are good kind of friends, like friends with boats and swimming pools.
So you jump in and help me find out.
Yeah, I'd work something out. We'd work something out.
So we've had situations where sellers are not quite out and our buyer shows up with their truck, and we generally just, it's a high stress day. So we try to exercise as much compassion as we can.
Yeah.
And we generally say, okay, well, why don't we move your stuff into the garage? Or, oh, hey, while they're carting stuff out the front door, can we start putting things into
That's
the garage?
a good solution.
Yeah, because to get things off of a truck is the point, right? If it gets into the garage, whatever. If it can't go all the way into the house to the top bedroom, I understand that it is a setback for sure, but it's the truck in the driveway that costs money. Like, that's the kicker. And it has been a situation where it's like, okay, well, our truck was supposed to send 5 people. They only sent 2 people. They thought it was a condo. It actually was a house.
There are more stairs.
We're gonna need more time, and then we just compensate what's the hourly on the truck and dinner for the couple. And we tried to compensate in a way that, because things are not always in their control, right? The last thing we want to do is inflame the situation and have an agent that we don't cooperate with, and
you're late, you're tired, and you're going to be lifting stuff later tonight.
And it's hot.
and it's hot out. Yeah, actually, we had a
And there's mosquitoes.
Yes.
We had a situation in Abbotsford a couple years ago where a client was late moving out, and we had to compensate for, I think it was just 2 hours with the truck. And he just said, and he, big puff in the chest, like, oh, they've got to compensate. And I said, you know what? Yeah, that's fair. Like, it's the delay is on our end. So it just took a little bit longer with the trucks that they had that they weren't anticipating, and mistakes happen. But as long as everybody plays fair, it seems that everybody gets along pretty well.
If everybody has the same problem, like the moving trucks, and we all go, yeah, that sucks, then cool heads will prevail. But I find if somebody's just being disrespectful with time, then it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's a
poking the
respect
bear.
thing. Totally. And own it. Just own it. Oh my gosh, we're going to need a little bit more time. Might not be as clean as you want. So sorry, here's compensation.
And give a heads up earlier in the day.
Yes. Communication, like David said.
Earlier
Communication.
in the week.
Yes. Yeah, because packing takes way longer than people think.
I hate when somebody says, can you help me move? And you show up and you have to pack.
That's not moving. That's packing.
My friends don't do that to me, probably because they know.
We're getting old, though.
I don't do
Talk
that
to
because
someone in their 20s, they're totally getting friends to help.
I'm particular when I pack. I use way too much newspaper, and so I have all the boxes ready, and then
Forests have died.
you unpack the box and you're like, "There's 4 cups in here, Sheila. What are you doing?"
Yes.
That's like my wife, too.
You're being really nice. It's your husband, but she's not throwing him under the bus right now.
Neil's reading the newspaper.
Yeah.
If I know Neil.
And I'll take it out of his hands and be like, "I need this for this mug and this cup."
It's an
me.
insane amount of paper
Yeah.
that goes into this, and when you do unpack them, there's just a mound of paper. So
Save the
it's a
trees,
whole
guys.
other thing.
Like this box would survive you dropping it down the stairs, all of them, and we'd be like, oh, it's perfect, it's great, even if we're moving a block away.
So you're single-handedly keeping like the Globe and Mail afloat every
You
time
know
you
it.
move.
Yeah.
Please stop.
Subscribe.
Yeah, it's a lot.
For Canada Day, I'm sledging their airlines and newspapers.
Yes.
I love it.
Wait till
Yeah.
we get to the government.
Guys, don't hire me to move your house. I'm too small. Hire David. No, I'm.
We'll get Jay.
But to conclude this episode, moving is a process.
Yeah.
Things can go wrong. They can go wrong. And even if you can do all the preparation that you can possibly think of, maybe the moving truck just doesn't show up. And that's completely out of everyone's control, even if they're all prepped and ready to go. And a lot of times, like David, like you're saying, it's completely preventable.
Communication.
Did you double check the truck? Did you double check the amount of people coming? Are you completely packed up? You know?
Scheduling properly.
You have a plan
Best
B.
form of prevention.
Yes, absolutely. And if something goes wrong, are you communicating early? Because at the end of the day, that solves, I would say, like 99% of the problems that we deal with. And Shelagh, like when you went to go deal with that problem and you had to deal with the seller doing one thing and the buyer doing the other thing, like
Yeah.
it was, I mean,
That's my first time encountering it, so I'm like, what do I do here?
yes, it was such a good lesson. Like, I mean, obviously I sent her because I really,
Did Kristy pick up her phone at least?
You bet she did.
I always
You
pick
bet
up my
she
phone.
did.
She always
Yeah.
does.
I always pick up my phone, but
Yeah.
that was a big lesson for you
Yeah.
because like for me, it would have been like, okay, so now I'm annoyed and this, but you did really, really well because that was a situation that you had not encountered before.
No.
Good job, Sheila.
But mark my words, every realtor at some point is going to face this.
Yep.
It will happen,
Yep.
right? It doesn't matter how prepared you are, how prepared your clients are, it happens. And so, yeah, people, they definitely think only about their situation a lot of the times, and that's what kind of gets people in trouble. They forget that there's a buyer that spent a lot of money and it's very, very exciting for them because maybe they're moving out and they're not excited about their move out. You never know people's reasoning.
It does happen.
Yeah, so I think empathy plays a big role here as well. So that's it, guys. Thanks for spilling the tea with us on
Happy Canada Day,
Happy
everybody.
Canada Day.
Today.
Come on.
Cheers.
Cheers.
People
Cheers.
make Canada.
Thank you for listening to Spilling the Tea, a real estate podcast with Kristy Massero and Shelagh Maycheck.